Coming to you live and direct from Now Valley Entertainment.
What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing back at you again. All right, so we saw the Klitschko Joshua fight. Great job by both guys. I gotta give it to both of them, Klitschko and Joshua. It was a great championship fight, the best in the heavyweight division in a long time. So let's analyze what really happened. Now, for anybody that saw my prediction, my pre-fight prediction, I predicted that Joshua would knock Klitschko out around the fifth round or so if he did the strategy that I recommended. Now, obviously, he didn't do that, and so he didn't knock Joshua out. I mean, he did knock out Klitschko in the fifth round, and the fight went to the 11th round before he got the knockout, which, you know, that's about right. So now I gotta say something though, that the only surprise that I saw in this fight was the way Klitschko fought, basically. Okay, and I gotta give it to Klitschko. I think this was probably the best performance of his career, probably. He fought a great fight, and to some degree, it was somewhat unexpected. But I guess you gotta give it to his. I think it's a great testament to Klitschko, first of all, to his determination, and also to his trainers. I think they trained him well for this fight. They knew what they was up against, and they trained him well. So he came out there and did, what he had to do. But, it wasn't enough. Joshua still won the fight. Now, for Joshua, great fight. Now, he almost did the job in the fifth round like I predicted. He had Klitschko down, and really he should have ended it there, but, he made a few mistakes, and Klitschko came back. Now Joshua showed some real grit in this fight, and he also showed something that I didn't, something in his repertoire I didn't really talk about, and that's the uppercut. Now, I talked about his left hand, his left hook, his jab. I talked about the right hand coming over the top, which it did many times. But I didn't talk about the uppercut. I didn't really know that he had that in the repertoire, in the back of in the car, in the back of the trunk. He came out with it. He went in the trunk and came out with the uppercut, and that probably did it for him more than anything else. So so that was great. Glad that he had that in there. So it was a good fight all around. Great fight, fantastic fight. Both guys performed very well. I saw that Klitschko did some movement in this fight. It was unbelievable, really. I mean, he actually boxed. I mean, it was really a lot of fun to watch. Actually, him moving, dancing. I mean, he actually threw a couple of jabs in the later round. He didn't do it in the earlier rounds. You had that measuring stick of a left out there, like habits die hard. But later on, he started actually trying to jab, but he should have did that from the beginning of the fight. Because again, people, a guy like him, I think that Klitschko's fighting style and his ability will be much more improved if he really focused on that jab, and perfecting the jab. Okay, but I don't. He doesn't. I'm pretty sure his training, his trainers would tell him to use the jab more, and he's just not executing like they tell him to do. Because when he does use the jab, it's pretty effective, but he doesn't use it as much as he could, or as much as he should. But we saw that Joshua was out there, doing everything basically, using the jab, using the hook, the right hand, and then the uppercut when it when he needed it. So Great job by Joshua, man. Just a fantastic job. I wasn't surprised that he won the fight. I was just surprised the fight lasted that long, and that was a testament to Klitschko. Really, he did a pretty good job there. So I gotta take back. I gotta kind of roll back some of the things I said about Klitschko, about him not just standing there and I mean he actually moved. He actually boxed, So he must have been really hungry for this fight, man. I mean, he actually did some things in there that took skill, So I mean, again, big. I gotta big up his trainers, and I gotta big up Klitschko, for the way he performed. He really went out there and performed in this fight. As for Joshua, well, I already predicted he was going to win the fight by knockout, so there's not much to really say. He kind of performed as I thought he would. But one thing I do know is that Joshua got to work on his stamina because he kind of punched himself out in the fifth round, and he had to come back. I guess he got his second win later on in the fight, but you got to be careful of that. That's like a rookie mistake. I mean, he had Klitschko out of there in the fifth round like I predicted, but he just didn't really do what it took to keep him out. He kind of made a couple of mistakes, went overboard, over eager, but you can't really blame him for that. He's still a young fighter, he's still learning, so he's still got a ways to go. But great fight, great job. I gotta give it to him. He did very well. Now, there's a lot of people, talking about Fury, and I mean, I listen to some of these comments and see some of these comments, and some of these channels, and they're talking about, oh yeah, all these Anthony Joshua haters, they all thought that Klitschko was gonna win. They all was predicting that Klitschko was gonna beat him. He was he wasn't ready for Klitschko, this, that, and the other. They all bullshit. These guys don't really know too much about analyzing boxing. They were thinking that Klitschko was gonna win. So now that Klitschko lost, now they're putting their hopes on, Fury or Wilder. Well, good luck with that, guys. I don't think that's gonna work. At the end of the day, Fury is about 400 pounds. I think that for him to come back and get in shape and be able to beat Joshua, I don't see that. I don't see it happening. Because at the end of the day, they talk about how he gave Klitschko a boxing lesson, this and that and the other. But I mean, how are you gonna give somebody a boxing lesson when you could even knock them down or even knock them out? I mean, yeah, you can outbox someone, without knocking them down or knocking them out, but you can't compare what happened with Klitschko and Joshua and what happened with Fury and Joshua. I mean, Fury and Klitschko. I mean, at the end of the day, even though Fury outboxed Klitschko, and I exposed him for what he was at that time, because, believe you me, I think if this Klitschko had fought Fury, he would have won. Okay, this is a different Klitschko altogether. So if this Klitschko had fought Fury in 2015, he would have beat Fury. Because Fury, even though he outboxed and exposed Klitschko, he wasn't really impressive, so to speak. In the sense that, he exposed Klitschko, but, he didn't really do much in terms of, and he didn't really have to do much because, like I said, that was a different Klitschko as far as I can see. So to compare the two fights, it doesn't really compare. And for people to say that Fury would, will school Joshua, or, I mean, it's ridiculous, really. I mean, Klitschko, Fury got a long way to go to come back to the fighting shape. And there's some question about whether he can actually achieve it. And even if he does come back, I don't think I doubt if he would be as good as he was back then, because it's kind of hard to come back, after you done, abuse yourself to the extent that he's doing. But I'm not gonna count him out. Maybe he will come back. Maybe he got more incentive now. Now that he see that Joshua, and he thinks he can beat Joshua. So maybe, Fury will come back now, and he'll have some incentive to come back and try to fight Joshua. Hopefully that will happen anyway. I hope to see it because I want to see that fight. But believe you me, Anthony Joshua was much more impressive against Klitschko than Fury was against Klitschko, and especially because this version of Klitschko was much better than the version that Fury fought. So, there's no comparison really. So again, a lot of these guys are hating on Joshua. They don't want to give him any respect or any accolades or, for whatever reason. Now they're saying Fury. I mean, Fury is almost washed up. I mean, basically, right at this point right now, he is washed up. He got a big job just trying to come back, but let's try to come back and beat Joshua. And as for Wilder, again, Wilder is pretty good. He got a solid punch, but I don't really see too many boxing skills. You know what I mean? He can punch, but that's about all he has. I don't see him. I can't see him beating Joshua. Anything could happen, but I just don't see that. Okay, so it would be interesting to see them fight. If that were to happen, I'll give my analysis on that. At a later time. But again, congratulations to Joshua. Great job. He got a bright future ahead of him in boxing. He got a lot to learn, but he's actually learning, and he's getting better every fight. So I'm pretty sure he learned a lot from this fight, and it's gonna make him just that much better. It is what it is. So again, love to see Fury come back, but I don't think he can beat Joshua. I don't see it happening. I think Joshua would knock him out. Even though because he fought, he had a difficult time. Even though he beat Klitschko, the old version of Klitschko, he still had a pretty difficult time beating Klitschko. And I just don't see him beating Joshua. Because like I said, Joshua got more skills than Klitschko. The old Klitschko. And even the new Klitschko. So I don't see Fury beating Joshua any way, shape, or form. I think Joshua would knock him out. But it'll be interesting to see the fight. I would love to see it myself. So again, I want to say congratulations to Joshua. Congratulations to Klitschko. You fought a great fight. You kind of proved me wrong as far as, you're talking about Klitschko now. His level of competitiveness was raised to a very high level in this fight. And he showed some real skill. I got to give it to him. On this one. He really showed some skills in this fight. But again, it wasn't enough to do the job. But it wasn't for the lack of trying, that's for sure. He gave it his all, and he gave a good account of himself. I really appreciate it, and I enjoyed it very much. So congratulations to both guys, both Klitschko and Joshua. Great fight. And I'm back, now I did say in my previous video in the prediction of this fight that it was Klitschko that made me start watching heavyweight fights because, I didn't really see much talent in the division, if he could have reigned that long. But I'm going to say something right now, and that is that it's Klitschko and Joshua why I'm back watching heavyweights again. So he was Klitschko why I stopped watching heavyweights, but it's Klitschko why I'm back to watching it again because I really enjoyed this fight. Great fight, both guys. Congratulations on putting on a great fight, and looking forward to see you guys again. If the rematch happens, I'll definitely watch it because I think it'll be another good fight. So if Klitschko retires now, he has nothing to be ashamed of. He made a good account of himself, like I said. And maybe he should retire. I don't see anything different happening in the next. If he was to fight Joshua again, I think Joshua would still beat him. I'm gonna leave it there. This is TBE Boxing signing off.